Good afternoon and welcome to the Assembly Committee on Commerce and Labor. Mrs. DeMarzo, please take roll.
Assemblymember Anderson. Carter. Present. Cole. Here. Hardy. Here. Howdigi. Here. Kasama. Here. Miller. Here. Monroe Moreno. Here. O'Neill. Here. Roth. Here. Torres Fawcett. Here. Yeager. Urick. Here. And Chair Marzola.
I am present. Please mark Speaker Yeager present once he arrives. Welcome everyone here in Carson City with us. We have a full house on a Friday. I like it. Everyone joining us in Las Vegas by video conference and anyone tuning over the internet. Today we will hear three bills: Assembly Bill 112, Assembly Bill 174, and Assembly Bill 179. I will be taking those in order. Before we get started, I would like to make some housekeeping announcements. Members of the public may provide testimony in various ways, all of which are listed in our agenda. When testifying, please remember to turn the microphone on to speak and turn it off to listen. If you have handouts for the committee, please provide 20 copies to the committee secretary prior to your testimony. In addition, exhibits and amendments must be submitted electronically as a PDF file to our committee manager no later than noon on the business day before our meeting. Committee information is available on the legislature's website. You may also watch our meeting through the legislature YouTube channel. We ask that public comments be kept to 2 minutes so that everyone can be accommodated. Public comment may be submitted in writing, either in addition to you testifying or in lieu thereof. And it must be submitted before, during, or up to 24 hours after our meeting. As always, I expect courtesy and respect in all our interactions, even if we may not agree. Finally, please make sure to put all your electronic devices, especially your cell phones, on silent mode. And with that, we will move to our first bill hearing. I will now open the hearing on Assembly Bill 112. This measure removes an exemption from provisions providing certain employees with the right to use sick leave to assist family members. Assemblymember Nguyen, welcome. You can get started when you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and members of the most caring Committee on Commerce and Labor. My name is Yui Nguyen, and I have the honor to represent Assembly District 8. Assembly Bill 112 seeks to remove an exemption from provision providing certain employees with the right to use sick leave to assist family members in time of need. There are widespread benefits of ensuring all workers have access to family and medical leave, such as reducing the conflicts and tension that occurs in deciding between taking care of the health of family members or earning a wage to put food on the table and keep the lights on or keeping one's job. Family members aren't the only one who suffered. Nevada businesses also suffer when employees have low morale and reduced productivity due to changes at home, such as caring for an ill loved one or bring them to the doctor. I understand this problem firsthand. I have 2 young kids, which a lot of you have met, and 2 sets of aging parents. Meeting the needs of my family is overwhelming, as you all can relate to, but now think about the Nevadans that don't have this opportunity. The legislature addressed this issue back in 2021 and passed AB 190, which require a private employer that provides employees with sick leave to allow those employees to use such leave to help an immediate family members due to an illness, injury, medical appointment, or other authorized medical need. Testimony indicated the same condition that would apply to employees when taking leave would apply to family sick leave cases. It was also stated that collective bargaining would not be affected by this bill. However, employees' access to accrue family sick leave varies widely by industry, by job, by wage, skill level, and collective bargaining agreement. It came to my attention that we should remove this exemption for employees covered under a valid CBA, thanks to the folks that I'm joined with today. To my left is Mark Ellis, President of CWA Local 9413. And to the right, I'm joined by Maria Hank, a Southwest Airlines flight attendant and elected Transport Worker Union Local 556 shop steward who has been employed for 35 years plus and will share her personal experience first and why this matters to workers like her. Maria?
Aloha, mabuhay. Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Maria Teresa Hank, and I'm a proud member of Transport Workers Union Local 556. I'm here today to strongly urge the committee to support Assembly Bill 112, the Kin Care Bill. As a constituent of Speaker Yeager's and a single mother of two, I have dedicated 35 years of my career as a flight attendant. However, like 178 out of 180 local unions, our members do not have the ability to call in sick to care for an immediate family member in sickness, illness, injury, or for doctor's appointments. Instead, we are forced to call in sick for ourselves, an action that can lead to serious repercussions, including up to termination. As a single mom, I've had the mental anguish of having to call in sick when one of my sons is ill. I now take care of my elderly mother, who is 87 years old and who is in hospice. The mental toll that this has taken on me has been extreme. I've had to go to work either knowing I'm leaving my loved ones behind or risk losing my job by calling in sick because we do not have this protection in our contracts. I've had members who have had dying relatives and couldn't take the time off to care for them. This is wrong. AB 112 would address this critical issue for those of us who lack this protection in our collective bargaining agreements. The mental and emotional toll of being unable to care for a loved one in times of need is a harsh reality for many workers. No one in Nevada should have to choose between their job security and their family's well-being. I'd like to thank Assemblyman Nguyen for sponsoring this bill and President of CWA Mark Ellis for his hard work on this bill, and all the unions and community members who have come together to bring this bill to you today. I respectfully ask for your support for AB 112 so that no hardworking Nevadan has to make the impossible choice between their loved ones and their job. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
How y'all doing? For the record, my name is Mark Ellis. I'm with Communication Workers of America, Local 9413. I'll try to keep this as brief as possible. We're not asking for anything extra. We're just asking that we don't have to lie to our employers. If a family member is sick, we should be able to tell say, hey, my daughter's sick, my son's sick. I shouldn't have to lie and say I'm sick if I'm not. And I understand that there are some touchy subjects on this with the building trades and a few others. We have been working long and hard with them. And we think we have, with the amendment, the issues resolved. So this should, in theory, not harm anybody while at the same time looping us in. I'll be glad to ask any questions. Thank you.
Chair and committee, Assemblymember Ewing Wing for the record. So as we mentioned, current law requires a private employer that provides employee with sick leave to allow an employee to use accrued sick leave to care for their family. However, an employer is exempt from the requirement if the employee is covered under a valid collective bargaining agreement. So with this bill, we're changing the section 1. If you look at number 6, we want to strike that existing number 6 and replace, with your permission, Chair, we have submitted an amendment to you, a conceptual amendment that took a lot of stakeholders over many, many hours. And everyone agreed upon this, and we will like to go over this with you if you're okay with that. Thank you, Chair. So the amendment read as follow. So the new number 6 would have, this act does not diminish an employer's obligation to comply with any of the following that provides the same or more generous leave and or benefits. First, a collective bargaining agreement, an employer policy, an employment contract, or any applicable local, state, or federal law. On section 2, which is a part of the original bill, provide that the a mandatory provision of section 1 do not apply during the current term of any collective bargaining agreement entered before October 1, 2025, but do apply to any extension or renewal of such an agreement and to any collective bargaining agreement entered on or after October 1, 2025. I would like to point out that this bill establishes a floor. Employees still have access to other benefits, rights, or remedies as may be provided by their employer by law. It's my priority that everyone have access to health care, and that means health care for loved ones. No one should be penalized for taking their mom to the doctor, their child to an appointment, or similar medical experiences that life loves to throw at us. So thank you, Chair and Committee, for hearing AB 112. I urge your support of this legislation, and we now stand ready for question.
Thank you for being with us today in your very concise presentation. We appreciate it. Vice Chair Howdigi.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for being here. It's just a quick question. I just want to make sure I'm plugging in the amendment to the right place. So the amendment is section is A, it's sub-bullet A. Where does that go? Which section am I plugging that into? Thank you.
Thank you. Assemblymember Ewing Wing, for the record, through you, Chair, through the Vice Chair, Leader Harugi.
You can go direct.
You are correct. Thank you, Chair. So I apologize in the rush of trying to get everything in. We did not do that correctly. So instead of that A that you see in the amendment, actually it should say number 6. So I apologize for that typo.
Committee members, any additional questions? Assemblymember O'Neill.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate the time. Assemblymember Nguyen, on your bill, why isn't the part about being able to take sick leave for a family member just part of the contract negotiations? Why does it have to be in state law and not part of a contract?
Assemblymember Ewing Wing, for the record, thank you for your question, Assemblymember O'Neill. So this is already part of that legislation that passed in 2021, AB 190, already have the exemption put in for collective bargaining agreement. That was put in at that time so that it does not provide any types of conflict with the law that was established through AB 190. But now what we're trying to do is that we do this so that no one would have to be any different, and this establishes a floor.
And I understand that, but that's what I'm saying is, Mr. Ellis said you have to lie currently to take sick leave. You have to say that you're sick, that he is sick, not his son, wife, daughter, whatever it may be, mother, et cetera. Why can't that part that be part of the contract negotiations, that we have sick leave and we can use it for our immediate family, for ourselves, and for illnesses, et cetera, for our immediate family? In other words, why does this have to be in statute, state law affecting private enterprise, and not included in the individual contracts between the employee and the employer?
For the record, my name is Mark Ellis, Communication Workers of America, Local 9413. Not everybody's in a union. So this would also protect people that are not collectively bargained for. So right now, there is sick time laws on the books. It's plain and simple. All we're saying is now, if my neighbor, Mr. P.K. O'Neill, gets hurt and I need to take some sick time to take care of him, I can do it. Instead of saying, I'm hurt.
Chair, if I just may follow up.
Go ahead.
But I'm not part of your family. So,
For the record,
anyways,
Mark Ellis.
I appreciate the explanation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Assemblymember Kasama.
Thank you, Chair. I was just looking at the exhibit that had screenshots of the discipline letters, and the language was the same. And I was just curious, I'm not asking for a name of an employer, but I was just curious, is it the same?
Assemblymember, I think you're talking about the wrong bill.
Okay, I apologize.
No problem at all.
I'll ask it later.
There you go. Assembly members, any additional questions? I don't see any. So we will move for testimony in support of Assembly Bill 112. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to testify in support? Please remember to state and spell your name for the record. You have 2 minutes each. You may begin when you're ready.
Hi, I'm Brian Orozco, BryanOrozco. Yeah, I'm in support of the bill. I'm going to use this as an example. During COVID, I have 2 kids. My first one got sick, second one got sick. But although we had the COVID protections that were there, that you had if somebody tested positive in your family, you were told to call the company to have that distance from other people. Had I not had that, I had nobody to take care of my kids, because I wasn't going to subject my mom to COVID at the time when they didn't know what COVID really meant. So for me to have a protection that would allow me to call in sick to provide that care for my child or for my children when they had it, because then what ultimately happened after that was, of course, I got COVID. It's just how, when you have children, those illnesses or whatever they may catch will spread through the house. I think it's important to have that opportunity to be able to call in sick to provide care for my kids, because that's what I think a parent should do. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Clarissa Principe, K-L-A-R-I-S-S-A, last name Principe, P-R-I-N-C-I-P-E. I am a member of TW 577. I've had quite a few different experiences over the years. However, there's one that sticks out particularly in my mind. There was at one point when my mother was diagnosed with uterine cancer, and while she was going through that, my father was deployed overseas. So my mom ended up, she was in pain and she needed to go to the emergency room, and we weren't sure what was wrong. I needed to take her to the emergency room. I called my employer, I tried to get my shift covered, could not. I was disciplined for not coming into work and having somebody cover my shift. I did explain to them it was an emergency and I needed to take care of my mother. And then the next shift that I went into work, my boss pulled me in the office and asked me why I couldn't just drop my mother off at the emergency room, come in for my shift, and pick her up when she was done. I'm very close with my family, so that was not an option. So I remember in that moment, I just told her, I was like, listen, I've never called out. I've always had my shift covered if I needed it covered, but that's my mom. So no, respectfully, I would never do that. I'm not gonna drop her off when she's in pain and I don't know what's going on, and then be at work and not know what's happening. So I am in support of this bill.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Blewett, and I'm a member of TW Local 577. In June of last year, my father called me to let me know that he had injured himself. He is a retired Air Force veteran, and he is a very prideful man, and had injured himself and needed to go to the emergency room. Through video call, I could figure out that that was necessary. He refused to call an ambulance. It wasn't that serious, but it was serious enough that he needed medical attention. Unfortunately, my mother is legally blind and cannot drive, and nobody lives close enough to them to be able to take them, or to be able to take my father to the emergency room. I, as his daughter, felt it was my responsibility to take care of him, take him to the emergency room, which I did, but I did have to call out of work. I did apply for FMLA, as that should be covered. Unfortunately, it was declined due to a deadline. So I feel like kin care would be a beneficial aspect to my life and many others, and I support this bill. Thank you.
Ross Kinson, for the record, KINSON, Northern Nevada Central Labor Council President, and I am in full support of this bill. I also am a union rep for the Teamsters, Local 533, up in Northern Nevada, and I won't bore you with all of the stories, but I can share literally hundreds of stories of my members who could benefit from this bill and benefit from having the ability to take care of their family. So we're in full support of this bill. Thank you.
Wendy Colborn, Northern Nevada Building Trades. Colborn is C-O-L-B-O-R-N-E. As amended, we are in full support of this bill. Thank you.
Kent Irvin, Nevada Faculty Alliance, representing professional employees at our colleges and universities. Only 12% of our faculty are covered by a very limited form of collective bargaining, and there's no reason they should have fewer rights or have to negotiate up to the rights that other employees have to take sick leave according to the law. Thank you.
Madam Chair and members of the committee, for the record, my name is Annette Magnus, and I'm here today representing my client, Moms Rising Together. Moms Rising Together is a network of families here in Nevada and across the U.S. who are united by the goal of building a more family-friendly America. We are here today in support of AB 112 and thank the sponsor and the groups involved with this important bill for including us in the discussion. We believe that all workers in Nevada should have the right to use their sick time to care for themselves or their loved ones, and that no one should be disciplined for using their time to care for a child or family member who is in need. We urge your support of this legislation that will improve the lives of our families in our state. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and members of the committee. For the record, I am Matthew Parker, M-A-T-T-H-E-W, P-A-R-K-E-R, representing the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainmen in support of AB 112. On October 1st, 2021, my wife was hospitalized battling the effects of COVID-19. On October 25th, 2021, she lost that battle. Throughout that time, I had to continue working, in part because my work agreements did not provide the benefit of paid sick time. What has changed since then is that my work agreements do now provide me with paid sick time. What has not changed, however, is that the employer still applies the just-in-time method when it comes to managing its staffing. As a result, they have implemented policies to discourage and severely limit the use of both compensated and non-compensated time off by employees under the threat of discipline. These policies make no tangible accommodation for the care of sick or disabled family members. Most recently, the company has implemented a policy in which immediately upon taking a paid sick day, the employee receives an electronic message requiring a response within 48 hours demanding certain information with regard to the employee's use of sick time. Failure to comply again carries the threat of discipline. Since the implementation of this policy, we are aware of no employees against whom allegations of improper use of sick time have been sustained, regardless of the circumstances or reasons cited. Additionally, the employer has provided only vague guidelines to us with regard to what they do and don't consider appropriate use of sick time. In other words, this appears to be just a form of harassment intended to discourage employees from using their contractually provided sick time, harassment from which NRS 608.01975, as it is currently written, provides no shield. Asking for a reasonable accommodation to care for oneself or a sick loved one is not unreasonable. This is a case where I believe that we can and should do better for Nevada's working families. Union members should not be left out of the protection provided in NRS 608.01975 on the basis that their work agreements do not include such protections.
Sir, if you can
AB
please
112 would
finalize
fix
your
this
comments.
shortcoming. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I therefore ask that you join me in supporting this bill. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee and staff. Rick McCann, MCCANN, currently representing Teamsters Locals 14 and 986. I will give a ditto, I will give a me too, and a true dat to everything that you've heard so far. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Renee Ruiz, R-E-N-E-E. RUIZ. I am staff for National Nurses United, and we support this bill with the amendments. But I also would like to add a little bit of a personal story. I am union represented as well. I was working for a union, and a really freak medical thing happened to me on New Year's Day, 2024. It was devastating. And it kept me from working for more than 6 months. And it kept me in the hospital for 3 months. A freak thing, no one expected it. It came out of nowhere. I am very lucky that I have a very supportive spouse, and he is also a union worker. During that time, there was much of it that I could not make my own decisions. I could not drive myself anywhere, and I definitely could not advocate for myself. And during that time, my husband had to make the choice sometimes calling out when there was a moment's notice of him having to get to the hospital or him having to get to a doctor's appointment. And while he does contractually have sick leave, it is not written into his contract presently that it can be used for spouses. Now, FMLA will protect a job, but it won't pay if you don't use sick leave. And I will tell you that while my employer took very good care of me, there was a time that I was not getting paid, and that choice for us, a two-income solid family, that choice of him missing that day of work was really gonna hurt. And so on the personal level, totally support this bill. All workers deserve to be able to use their sick leave at their discretion. To address the Assembly member's question about collective bargaining agreements and why it's not in there, some of them there are. I represent nurses with employers
Ma'am,
that
if you can
advocate.
please finalize your,
Certainly.
thank you.
But we haven't always caught up in our bargaining. And also, some of us are under a regional or a national contract that our bargaining is not necessarily localized as well with state law application, where they're coming from states that already have this provision as state law broadly.
Thank you. Begin.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and the committee members. For the record, my name is Gary Watson, W-A-T-S-O-N. I am the Secretary Treasurer of Teamsters Local 533, and we fully support this bill, AB 112, and we hope that the committee supports the bill as well. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and members.
I don't think your microphone is on.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and the members. For the record, my name is Gabriel Christensen, C-H-R-I-S-T-E-N-S-O-N. I'm the Nevada State Legislative Director for Smart TD and a member of Local 1043. I ask you to support AB 112. This bill will allow union members to provide care for their loved ones without having to fear discipline. At the railroad, we have many members that are single parents, so this would really help them. So we're in full support and ask you to support it.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. For the record, Tess Opferman. I am here on behalf of the Nevada Women's Lobby. The Nevada Women's Lobby has always been in support of bills that give access to paid time off, and we are in support of this bill. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else in Carson City wishing to provide support testimony? I don't see anyone. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to provide support testimony for Assembly Bill 112? Please remember to state and spell your name for the record. You have 2 minutes. You may begin when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. For your record, Maggie Carlton, M-A-G-G-I-E, C-A-R-L-T-O-N, today representing Culinary Workers Local 226. It is very nice to see you. I hope there's nothing falling from the sky up there today and you all get home safely today. I am here as a representative to support Assembly Bill 112. I want to congratulate the Assembly member on all the hard work that he has done, making sure that every Nevada family can take care of their families. We all know in that building the saying, families first, and this is a families first bill. Thank you all very much.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Assembly members. My name is Sarah Evans, S-A-R-A-E-V-A-N-S, and I'm with SEIU Local 1107. We fully support our union family members in this bill. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon. My name is Carla Campos, and I am with CWA Local 9413. I am the Vice President, and I am in support of this bill as well as our local. We have lots of members that do have kids and have families that need assistance, and sometimes they need to take their sick time. And it would be very beneficial for them to have that accessibility while getting paid. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Pamela Demendez. I am with Communication Workers of America. I'm secretary, and as a single mom of 2 little ones, I support this bill.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee.
For the record, my name is Jolina Walker, Jollina Walker, and I'm the State Policy Director for Make It Work Nevada. We are a reproductive justice organization, and I am testifying in support of AB 112. Make It Work Nevada has been in the fight since 2016 for working families by advocating for policies that help families thrive, not just survive in the state. This bill will allow families who are currently limited to certain criteria to take time off to care for loved ones. We also look forward to a time when we can expand the definition of family, and we want to thank Assemblymember Nguyen for bringing this bill forward, and we urge the committee to support AB 112. This is an excellent example of how when we know better, we do better and can do better together. Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Juan Carlos Campos and I am with CWA. We are local 9413 and I support the bill for 112.
Hello, my name is Fatima Cruz, Fatima Cruz, Cruz. I am with local 9413 and I am in full support of this bill.
I don't see anyone else coming up in Las Vegas broadcast. Is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in support?
To testify in support for Assembly Bill 112, please press star 9 or raise your hand in the Zoom window to take your place in the queue. Again, if you would like to testify in support, please press star 9 on your phone or raise your hand in the Zoom window.
Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Joseph Graham, Joseph Graham, and I'm the Chief Steward of CWA 9413. I strongly urge the committee to support Assembly Bill 112. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members. Tom Hinsey, for the record, TomHintze. I'm a UAW member, and on behalf of UAW, we're in strong support of AB 112. Thank you.
Caller with the last 3 digits 591, please press star 6 to unmute yourself.
Hello, my name is Addie Crisp, Addie Crisp. I'm a member of Transport Workers Union Local 556, the Union of Southwest Flight Attendants. And I would first like to thank the legislature for providing so many opportunities to be able to testify. I am currently on a break and was able to testify today. I am in full support of this bill for many reasons. I started flying and living in Las Vegas 24 years ago. At that time, I had no children and 2 healthy parents. Fast forward 24 years, I have 2 junior high children and a 100% disabled veteran father. I would love for this bill to go through so that I could provide assistance to the rest of my family members that are carrying the load of taking care of an elderly parent. So I am in full support of the bill. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzola, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Russ James, Russjames. I'm a union member of Local 567 with the Nevada State AFL-CIO. I strongly urge the committee to support this bill and help our families. Thank you.
Caller with the last three digits, 142, please press *6 to unmute yourself.
Chair, it appears our caller is not unmuting to speak. Would you like to proceed forward to the next caller?
Yes, please.
Good afternoon, committee. For the record, my name is Adam Mack, M-A-C-K. I'm the legislative director with IATSE Local 363 here in Reno. We're in strong support of AB 112, a bill that would provide basic rights for every worker, regardless of a contract or not. Thank you.
Broadcast, is there anyone else on the line?
Yes, Chair. Caller ending in 591, you are unmuted and may proceed when ready.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Evelyn Pacheco. That's EVELYNPACHECO. And I am an Army veteran, and I am part of Union UA Local 525 Plumbers, Pipe Fitters, and HVAC. And I strongly urge the committee to support Assembly Bill 112. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzola. For the record, my name is Susie Martinez, and I am the Executive Secretary Treasurer of the Nevada State AFL-CIO, and we are in full support of the bill. Thank you.
Very good afternoon, Chair Marzola and members of the committee. My name is Matthew Wilkie, M-A-T-T-H-E-W-W-I-L-K-I-E. For the record, I'm just calling in support. I want to thank this Assemblymember Wen for bringing this bill forward. I wish something like this would have been in place when my mother was passing away a couple years ago. So I'm in full support. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Robert Sumlin, S-U-M-L-I-N. I'm a member of the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, Local Lodge, Sin City 711 in Las Vegas, Nevada. I strongly urge the committee to support Assembly Bill 112. Thank you. Have a good day.
Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Vianey Murphy, V-I-A-N-E-Y-M-U-R-P-H-Y. I am a council representative and member of AFA, the Association of Flight Attendants, Council 25, and I just want to advocate strongly in favor for AB
112. Thank you so much for your time and everyone who's rallied for this. This is very important for us. Thank you.
Callers, if you would like to provide testimony in support of Assembly Bill 112, please press *9 now to join the queue. Caller ending in 142, please press *6 to unmute yourself and begin when ready. Caller ending in 138. Oh, excuse me, please proceed.
Okay. Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Linda Ward Smith, and I am a union president of AFGE Local 1224 here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I strongly urge the committee to support AB 112. Thank you.
Oh, excuse me, please proceed. Okay. Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Linda Ward Smith, and I am a union president of AFGE Local 1224 here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I strongly urge the committee to support AB 112. Thank you.
Caller ending in 418, you are unmuted. Please proceed.
Good afternoon, everyone, and Chair Marzola. My name is Beverly Williams, Williams. I am the Secretary Treasurer of the Southern Nevada Central Labor Council, and I urge the committee to support AB 112. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Mazzola, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Eric Zhang, ERICJENG. I'm the Executive Director with 1APIA Nevada. Ditto, and thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Cliff Paschal, CLIFFPASCHALL. I'm a union organizer and member of IATSE Local 720 in Las Vegas. And I strongly urge the committee to support Assembly Bill 112. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and members of the. For the record, my name is Trisha Bradshaw. I'm a member of the CW 577, and I strongly urge the committee to support Assembly Bill 112.
Caller ending in 123, please use *6 to unmute yourself and begin when ready.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Don McNamee, D-O-N-M-C-N-A-M-E-E. I'm a member of Teamsters Local 631 in Las Vegas, retired. I do urge the committee to support AB 112.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Carlos Gutierrez, and I'm a union member of Local 350, Plumbers and Pipefitters, Reno, Nevada. And I strongly urge the committee to support Assembly Bill 112. Thank you.
If you are just joining us and would like to testify in support of Assembly Bill 112, please press *9 to take your place in the queue.
Good afternoon, Chair Mazzola and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Clarence McCarthy, C-L-A-R-E-N-C-E-M-C, capital C-A-R-T-H-Y. I'm the President Emeritus of NALC Branch 709 Letter Carriers in Reno, Nevada. Also currently the Health Benefit Rep. And this bill would benefit our members immensely. So I strongly urge the committee to support Assembly Bill 112. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzola, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Phil James, J-A-Y. Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Phil James, J-A-Y-N-E-S, and I am the president of IATSE Local 720 here in Las Vegas. I strongly urge that the committee to support AB 112. Thank you very much.
Chair, it does not appear we have any more callers to provide testimony in support at this time.
Thank you. We will move to testimony in opposition to Assembly Bill 112. Is there anyone here in Carson City? Please remember to state and spell your name for the record. You have 2 minutes each.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee. Paul Morat with the Vegas Chamber. The Chamber is opposed to AB 112 as drafted. However, we have been in communication and in working conversations with the bill sponsor, and we do believe that we have come to a resolution on a consensus amendment that has been updated in Nellis. It's the language that refers to that provides the same or more generous. That same part is important in the agreement we have with the bill sponsor. We appreciate him updating that piece. Just want to clarify, just quickly, if I may, Madam Chair, a comment was made about non-union workers not being covered by existing law. They are. The exemption was for union workers that was part of the negotiation 2019, then adopted in 21. So non-union workers are currently covered. I just want to clarify that for the committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair Marzola and committee members. Misty Grimmer, representing the Nevada Resort Association. In the interest of time, I will echo the comments of my colleague from the Vegas Chamber. We do appreciate the time that the sponsor has given us in this to discuss this and this additional amendment. I will take this to the members, and I believe this is most likely also going to move us to neutral. But I have to take it to the members. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Brian Walker with the Retail Association of Nevada. I will also echo the comments from the Las Vegas Chamber. We believe that this is something that every employee in the state is supposed to be meeting this statewide expectation. To address the comment from Assemblymember O'Neill, this doesn't suggest that more can't be collectively bargained, but it does suggest that there is a minimum state standard that needs to be met. And so we look forward to the amendment being adopted and removing our opposition to the final bill.
Good afternoon, Chairperson Marzola and members of the committee. My name is Samantha Dugan, and I am the Executive Director of the Northern Nevada Reno Division of the National Electrical Contractors Association. We are opposed to the bill as written with the conceptual amendment noted. We would like to work together with the sponsor and other stakeholders to find a better solution. Thank you.
Chair Marzola, members of the committee, my name is Tomas Hammond with Carrera, Nevada. I am here on behalf of the Mechanical Contractors Association of Las Vegas and the Sheet Metal and Air Conditioning Contractors National Association of Southern Nevada. We are here in opposition to AB 112 and echo the comments from the Las Vegas Chamber. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the committee, my name is Tom Clark. That's T-O-M-C-L-A-R-K. Representing the Reno Sparks Chamber of Commerce. Much like the previous speakers, we had some partners and our members that were concerned, but with this amendment, if it gets adopted, fortunately, we'll be on the supporting side instead of the opposing side. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairman, members of the committee. For the record, Andrew McKay, A-N-D-R-E-W, M-A-C-K-A-Y. Didn't forget this time. I guess technically speaking, we're still in the opposition. However, acknowledge the work from the Assemblyman in the amendment. Once it's adopted, we're neutral and appreciate the work that he's done, and more particularly the work that Mr. Muradkin has done on behalf of the business community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I don't see anyone else walking up. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 112? Please remember to state and spell your name for the record.
Good afternoon. My name is Wendy Newman, W-E-N-D-I-N-E-W-M-A-N. I'm the political director representing the Southern Nevada chapter of the National Electrical Contractors Association, NECA. Our opposition stems from the removal of the exemption for the employees covered by the collective bargaining agreement, which undermines the foundation of collective bargaining process. While the amendment acknowledged collective bargaining agreements, it doesn't go far enough in protecting the union contractors and industry from unnecessary government interference. So I look forward to and am committed to working with stakeholders to find a solution for all for this bill. Thank you.
I don't see anyone else in Las Vegas walking up. Broadcast, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in opposition?
If you would like to testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 112, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a senior and I got in late. My name is Sue Bird, S-U-E-B-I-R-D, and I'm in support of this bill and however they can work it out. I am a senior and I do need my children that are part of a union to be able to take off if it should come that I am ill. So I hope that we can work together to make sure that all workers in Nevada have the opportunity to take off. Thank you.
Thank you. Broadcast, can we go back to opposition, please?
If you would like to testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 112, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to provide opposition at this time.
Thank you. We'll move to testimony in neutral. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to testify in neutral? I don't see anyone. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in the neutral position? Broadcast, is there anyone on the line?
Chair, there are no callers choosing to provide neutral testimony at this time.
Thank you. Assemblymember Nguyen.
Thank you, Chair. Again, Assemblymember Yui Wing for the record. I want to just express my thanks to all the stakeholders that came to the table. And yes, I want to reiterate that majority of Nevadans already have this benefit from AB 190 in 2021. But we want to make sure that all Nevadans have this benefit from now on. And it is the floor. So that language that Mr. Marakin has mentioned, the same or more generous, will be amended in the bill. And with your permission, Chair, we will get that done before it come back to the committee, and we ask for all your support. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being with us today. I will now close the hearing on Assembly Bill 112. 1 minute recess.
Thank you, committee. The committee will now come back to order. I will now open the hearing on Assembly Bill 174. Chair Marzola, when you're ready.
Thank you, Vice Chair Howdigi and members of the committee. It's very different being on this side, but it's like deja vu. I'm Elaine Marzola, representing Assembly District 21. Assembly Bill 174 revises provisions relating to telecommunication providers. I have Omar Salcedo here with me. He is joining me today so that he can go through the bill with you guys, talk a little bit about satellite, and also answer any technical questions that the committee may have. To give you a little bit of background information, it takes a mix of providers and technologies to bring coverage to all corners of the United States. Satellite's advancement over the recent years and widespread reach over vast geographies make it the best solution for the most remote, expensive to serve locations that lack reliable fiber or wireless service. Beyond satellite's standalone role, satellite technology can also help to extend the reach of mobile wireless services to areas where wireless providers' cell sites have not yet been deployed or are otherwise infeasible. Currently, Nevada law does not recognize satellite technology as a form of alternative voice service and only recognizes traditional wired and wireless services. The proposed changes to the Nevada Revised Statutes 704.68886 will ensure Nevada is prepared for a future that connects all Nevadans. With your permission, Vice Chair, I would like to have Mr. Salcedo further discuss satellite, go over this very large bill, and answer any technical questions the committee may have. Thank you, Chair, or Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair Marzola. Good afternoon, Vice Chair Howdigi and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Omar Salcedo, and I am appearing here today on behalf of AT&T. Thank you for the opportunity to present AB 174. As a brief overview, AB 174 is a telecommunication bill that is brought here today in an effort to continue to modernize telecommunication law. The last time we amended provisions of NRS 704.68886, also known as the Provider of Last Resort chapter, was over a decade ago in 2013. At that time, several updates were made, including removing antiquated provisions in law referring to telegraph. Over the past decade, telecommunication marketplace has evolved once again. Telecommunication providers have invested heavily in building out their wireless networks. As a result, today, 97% of Americans own a cell phone. With high customer demand for connectivity and coverage, we are here today to recognize satellite technology as another viable form of telecommunication service in the state of Nevada. Simply put, AB 174 will help eliminate dead zones across our state and reflect the investment that many telecommunication providers are making to enhance coverage. These proposed changes in AB 174 will help ensure that all Nevadans are prepared for a future that provides reliable connectivity in all parts of our state, including the most remote areas. Before concluding my remarks, I would like to quickly walk through the provisions of the bill. In Section 1, subsection 2B, we're adding a reference to satellite technology as a form of alternative voice service. Also, in Section 1, subsection 15A, we're removing the exclusion of satellite technology in the definition of alternative voice service. We understand why the satellite technology was originally excluded from the changes made to law in 2013, when the technology was in its infancy. But as you can tell by recent advertisement, most notably during the Super Bowl, we now believe that satellite technology is ready for prime time. In closing, I'm happy to say one day in the not too distant future, Nevadans will feel a greater peace of mind knowing that they have coverage in every corner of our great state, including our national parks, rural highways, and other hard-to-reach locations. This completes my testimony. Thank you for your time. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I think just one question for me. Can you give us an example of a satellite call? Would that be like a WhatsApp call?
It is the plan that satellite, Vice Chair Jauregui, for the record, my name is Omar Salcedo. Thank you for the question. It is our plan that satellite technology will work exactly like wireless technology. When we do have a critical mass of satellites in the air, it is the plan that, yes, you will be able to make a WhatsApp or a FaceTime call or use it exactly how you would a wireless cell tower or cell call right now.
Okay, seeing no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and move into the testimony portion of the bill hearing. We're going to start in Carson City, and I'm going to start with testimony in support.
Thank you, Vice Chair Jauregui and committee members. Misty Grimmer, GRIMMER, representing Cox Communications. We are happy to support this bill. As Mr. Saucedo mentioned, the telecommunications industry is very dynamic, and it's important for the definitions in statute to adjust to the differences as technology grows and improves. Thank you.
Hello, Vice Chair and members of this committee. My name is Catherine Nielsen. I'm the Executive Director of the Nevada Governor's Council on Developmental Disabilities. As you guys are probably aware, citizens who are deaf or hard of hearing or who rely on telecommunication services often struggle to receive a good connection that is good enough for them to be able to use video remote interpreting services and other types of communication that they rely on heavily. And this would definitely increase that access in the community, and we're excited to support this bill. Thank you.
Good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Donna Laffey, DONNA-LAFFEY, with Ferrari Reader Public Affairs here on behalf of Verizon. We're here in support of AB 174. We think it's good policy that allows companies to adapt to available technologies and to benefit consumers and to enhance coverage. Thank you.
For the record, Dan Gordon, Gordon. I'm the president of Nevada Police Union. Good afternoon, Chair and members of the Assembly Committee. My name is Dan Gordon, and I have the honor of representing Nevada State law enforcement officers, the men and women who serve across every corner of the state, from city streets to the most remote highways and rural communities. There's an expectation that when somebody calls or dials 911, help will come. That expectation shouldn't be a gamble based on geography. Everyday officers put themselves in harm's way responding to emergencies with one critical assumption, that their radios and communication devices will work when they need them the most. Unfortunately, in far too many areas of our state, that's simply not the case. I've heard from officers who lost contact in the middle of critical incidents, who couldn't reach dispatch, couldn't coordinate backup, and couldn't call for medical aid. They're not just inconveniences, they're life-threatening failures. AB 174 is a necessary fix. Expanding access to satellite-based voice service means officers are never out of reach when responding to violent calls or major crashes. Firefighters and paramedics can communicate during wildfires, floods, and large-scale disasters. Dispatch centers aren't left in the dark when sending units to high-risk situations. Rural Nevadans, whether you're a rancher, truck driver, or stranded motorist, aren't left with no way to call for help. This is not a future problem. It's happening right now, and without action, the consequences will continue. Nevada's first responders deserve better. The communities we serve deserve better. I urge you to pass AB 174 because reliable communication should never be optional. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Brian Walker with Retail Association of Nevada, BRYANWACHTER. We are in favor of AB 174. We want to thank the sponsor very much for bringing this. You know, over the holiday season, retail sales increased by 4.5%. Online retail sales increased by 22.5%. It's really important that our retailers and our consumers have access to the technology and the connectivity to participate in that e-commerce. And so for that reason, we are happy to be in support of the bill today, and we urge its support.
Vice Chair, members of the committee, for the record, Jessica Ferrato here today on behalf of Lumen. I'd like to echo the comments of my colleagues in the telecommunications industry and really appreciate your time on this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, Ryan Beeman, representing the professional firefighters in Nevada. Firefighting is a very stressful situation, and communication is paramount for our members and what we do. Any way that we can enhance that to protect our members, we're in support of. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Vice Chair, members of the committee, and staff. I always forget to put the staff in there as well. Rick McCann, MCCANN, representing in this matter Nevada Association of Public Safety Officers, Nevada Law Enforcement Coalition, and we urge your support and encourage your support for AB 174. Thank you for the privilege of your time.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Paul Murakin with the Vegas Chamber. The Chamber is in support of AB 179, and we appreciate the work that's been done by our members in the industry. They'll be able to bring the service to the community and the state. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Madam Vice Chair and committee members. Jason Lesher, Lesher, with the Washoe County Sheriff Deputies Association and the Public Safety Alliance of Nevada. For all the same reasons, especially our first responder colleagues mentioned, but everybody here, we urge you to support and pass this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in Carson City wishing to testify in support? Okay, seeing none, we will move to Las Vegas. Anyone testifying in support, please approach the dais. You may begin when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Chair and committee members. My name is Ann Carpenter, ANNECARPENTER, and I had the honor of serving our great state of Nevada for over 27 years, retiring as the Colonel of the Nevada Highway Patrol. Today, I appear before you not just as a retired law enforcement executive, but as someone deeply committed to ensuring that our first responders have the connectivity they need to keep our communities safe. Throughout my time as Colonel, I drove tens of thousands of miles and visited all 33 substations across Nevada. Time and time again, I experienced firsthand the harsh reality of little to no coverage in far too many areas. This isn't just inconvenient, it's dangerous. When first responders can't communicate, lives are at risk. When a paramedic loses a signal en route to an emergency, or when a dispatcher can't reach an officer in distress, or when a stranded driver has no way to call for help, those consequences can be catastrophic. AB 174 closes these dangerous gaps by expanding access to satellite-based communication, ensuring that no matter where you are in Nevada, help is always within reach. The passage of this bill means continuous access to emergency services for first responders and stronger response to disasters, keeping communities connected during wildfires, floods, or any infrastructure failures. Reliable communication shouldn't depend on a zip code. AB 174 ensures that no one is left behind when it matters most. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in Las Vegas wishing to testify in the support category? Okay, seeing none, AVH, can we move to the telephone lines?
To testify in support of Assembly Bill 174, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Vice Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify in support at this time.
Thank you. We will now move to opposition. Is there anyone in Carson City wishing to testify in opposition? Okay, seeing none, we will move to Las Vegas. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in opposition? Seeing none, AVH, can we move to the telephone lines?
To testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 174, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Vice Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify in opposition at this time.
Thank you. We will now move to neutral. Is there anyone in Carson City wishing to testify in neutral? Okay, seeing none, we will move to Las Vegas. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in neutral? Seeing none, AVH, can we please go to the telephone lines?
Testify in neutral to Assembly Bill 174, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Vice Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify in neutral at this time.
Thank you. Chair Marzola, would you like to give any closing remarks? Okay, seeing none, I will close the hearing on Assembly Bill 174. We will stand in a 1-minute recess. I will now open the hearing on Assembly Bill 179. This measure revises provisions relating to employment. Assemblymember LaRue Hatch, you may begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Chair and Committee. I am Assemblymember Selena LaRue Hatch. That is spelled S-E-L-E-N-A. L-A space capital R-U-E space H-A-T-C-H for the record. And I represent Assembly District 25, which is in West Reno. And I will allow my compatriots to introduce themselves as well.
Thank you. Ross Kinson, K-I-N-S-O-N, with the Northern Nevada Central Labor Council.
Hello, my name is Amanda Witten, W-H-I-T-T-E-N, with Local 533 Teamsters.
Assemblymember LaRue Hatch for the record. So we appreciate you giving us time to hear AB 179 today. Some of you know the history of this chapter. You worked on that history in 2019, but for those that didn't, in 2019, there was SB 312, which extended paid sick time to employees who work at companies that employ 50 or more individuals. There were protections written into that bill against retaliation, and there were measures taken to protect collective bargaining agreements. Unfortunately, in the years intervening, we have discovered that the intent of that bill is not always being followed, and that there is, in fact, retaliation that is occurring, and there are employees under collective bargaining agreements that are not getting the base level protections that were envisioned in that bill. So this bill is meant to fix that. It is not meant to be a dramatic rewriting of the statute. It is not meant to completely change the policy. It is meant to achieve the original intent of the bill, which was to protect workers, ensure that they can use their sick leave, and that there is not retaliation. So to explain what is happening on the ground, I am going to pass it to Mr. Kinson, who has experience with these situations in our community.
Thank you again, Chair and Committee. My name is Ross Kinson, for the record. As I stated, I'm the president of the Northern Nevada Central Labor Council, and I'm here today to represent my union members, many of whom could benefit from the simple fixes in AB 179. AB 179, at its core, fixes a loophole in the language of NRS 608.0197. As a union representative, I can speak firsthand how workers throughout the state are subject to discipline and retaliation if they use their earned paid leave time. This language in NRS 608.0197 was originally enacted in 2019, and it sets a clear standard for the use of paid time off. The law was expanded in 2021 to make clear that an employee can use paid leave for any use, including for medical care. This language is at NRS 608.0197(2)(b). The intent was to set a floor for most private workers in the state, putting in guardrails that made it so companies could not retaliate for the use of paid time. The reality, though, is that on the ground, union employers are using this language as written to subject union workers to discipline and harassment if they use their earned paid time off. You have a few examples that were provided to you as an exhibit, and I'd like to just read one of them into the record here. On December 4th, 2023, you were issued a 5-day suspension for calling in sick to work. On December 7th and 8th, you were issued a discharge for calling in sick to work. On July 30th, 2024, you called in sick to work. This letter will serve as your official discharge for undependability. Please note that this letter is almost 9 months after the previous occurrence. It's also important for me to share that in this particular CBA, employees received their sick days on July 1st. So this employee had a full allotment of sick days in their bank. You can see in the exhibit that people are being disciplined for using their earned sick leave, even when it is a single day or they are going months between uses. These are just a couple that have been provided to you of hundreds of examples that I can provide. In all of these write-ups, my members had paid leave time on the book. Many companies, mostly large corporations, have recognized the loophole in the NRS that they can exploit. This is why we need explicit language in the NRS that bars retaliatory discipline for using paid leave. You may wonder why employees under a collective bargaining agreement need to come to the legislature for protection. Why not bargain the protections we want and then go through the grievance procedure when there's a violation? We have done this. Unfortunately, we discovered that our members exist in a legal no man's land due to the current statute. First, under existing law, the paid leave law does not apply to all workers covered under a collective bargaining agreement that provides for an equivalent accrual of paid leave of 1 week per year. This is existing law NRS 608.01978A. As such, none of the law's other benefits and protection for workers, such as the reasons leave can be taken, notice requirements, and protections for workers using the leave apply to workers covered by a qualifying CBA. All an employer must do is have a policy for accruing paid leave time, but the law does not require that time to be actually available to workers. This is a major loophole with how the CBA exemption language is drafted. Second, none of the law's enforcement mechanisms and teeth are available to workers exempted under NRS 608.01978A. Without the teeth of the Labor Commissioner enforcement, which opens the door to statutory penalties and assessments, employers can run roughshod over paid leave CBA obligations without any real threat of enforcement and consequences. Contract grievances under a CBA provide inadequate remedies because an employer can evade true enforcement by simply paying out the leave before an arbitrator rules against the employer. And if an arbitrator rules against the employer, none of the remedies available to the labor commissioner under the law apply unless the contracting parties expressly agree to give those remedies to an arbitrator. Under Section 13C of the bill, new language is proposed to set forth a non-exclusive list of employer actions that constitute prohibited retaliation, which includes dismissing, demoting, or suspending the employee, issuing a reprimand to the employee, transferring the employee for the purpose of punishment, considering in any way the employee's use of paid leave available for use by the employee in a disciplinary action against the employee, or taking any other adverse action against the employee for using paid leave available for use by the employee. These additions will provide much-needed additional protection to ensure employees are able to use their hard-earned paid leave time. Thank you.
Assemblymember LaRue Hatch for the record. Mr. Kinson was able to explain the union CBA portion of this, but I would like Ms. Witten to be able to share her story of retaliation that she has experienced in her workforce.
Hello, Chair and Assembly members. Once again, my name is Amanda Witten, and I am here today to share my experiences regarding the use of sick days at my job. I have been employed since 2011, and after the first year of employment, we are granted 9 paid sick days per year. However, in recent years, all employees, including myself, have been written up every time we use a sick day. In July 2024, I had to use a sick day and received a discharge letter as I was deemed a dependability issue. Prior to that, I hadn't used a sick day since 2023 December. Almost 9 months. I was a few days short. Yet I was still labeled as unreliable just for using 1 sick day. I had a full bank of sick days meant for emergencies, but now I constantly worry needing to take time off for myself or my elementary-aged school daughter, who, like most kids her age, is prone to getting sick. I now have to decide between taking care of my health and my daughter or keeping my job. In October 2024, I had to use more sick time due to severe stomach flu and was again given a discharge letter. I provided a doctor's note, but I was told it was unnecessary. Thankfully, my union representative has fought to help me keep my job, but my discharges are still on my record. I still feel worried and anxious about using my sick days when I genuinely need them. Many of my friends and coworkers have faced similar challenges. This year has been particularly tough with numerous cases of flu, COVID, and RSV, and each of them has also received write-ups for using their sick days. Out of fear of losing our jobs and health insurance, many of us come to work sick, inadvertently spreading illness to others. We lift up to 150 pounds, we walk 10 to 15 miles per day, yet we are expected to perform at our best even when unwell. Not being able to utilize our sick days when we need them not only prolongs our recovery, but also poses a risk to our coworkers and customers. We should not have to be on our deathbeds to avoid being penalized by our employers. Large corporate employers are taking full advantage of the current laws as they stand. I urge the Assembly to consider passing AB 179 to protect workers like us. Thank you for your time.
Assemblymember LaRue Hatch for the record. Thank you, Ms. Witten, for sharing your story. I think this illustrates on a personal level the kind of protections that we are trying to bring to our constituents. And Ms. Witten's story is one of hundreds that we could bring to you, and there will be more you will hear in support testimony. But I think it speaks to not only the issue of worker protections, but also the public health issue. When individuals are encouraged and even required to come into work while they are ill, we are risking them spreading that illness to others, especially if they are in service industries or hospitality, which makes a huge portion of our economy. With that said, I'd like to walk you through the bill. It is not too long, which is nice. If you'll notice, the only language we are adding is on page 4. We are including a list of what counts as retaliation. Again, it is already explicitly barred to retaliate against an employee for using their paid leave in statute. However, we found that there was confusion over what constitutes retaliation. And so we wanted to make clear for employee and employer so that there are no false accusations, and also so that employees have protections, what that entails. You can read that list there. Mr. Kinson also read it into the record. Additionally, we have crossed out Section 8A, which was the part of the statute that explicitly prohibited this from applying to individuals under a collective bargaining agreement. We are replacing it with the amendment. This amendment should look familiar because it is the one you saw today in the hearing for AB 112. And the sponsor of that bill and I coordinated because we want the same language to be across the statutes, and we want to ensure we are not destroying any current CBAs, that we are protecting CBAs that have already been agreed. I will also note in Section 2 on the last page that the provisions of this act do not apply during the current term of any contract or employment, collective bargaining agreement, or any other agreement entered into before October 1st, 2025. So again, we are having double protection in this bill to not change or alter or destroy current CBAs. This is going to provide protections, to provide a base floor, and unions can negotiate higher. Employers can offer higher, even if they don't have a union. They can offer more, but we want to establish a floor for this language. So in closing, we are not attempting to dramatically change statute. We are trying to close loopholes. We are trying to achieve the original intent of the bill. And we are trying to ensure that every Nevadan is covered by these basic protections that we are already offering to non-union employees. And I always like to think about why I am here, and I am sure it's the same reason you are here, which is to give a voice to our constituents and to improve their lives. This bill does that without having to spend a single dollar. You will see that in the support testimony you hear today. You'll hear from organizations who represent workers and the workers themselves of the need for this statute. Please listen to them, listen to their stories and the harm they have experienced. You will also hear from some individuals who will come up to the table in opposition. Some have engaged in good faith discussion, affirmed their agreement that we should protect workers, and agreed that we can work together to try to solve this problem, and we are still working. Unfortunately, there will also be some individuals in opposition who have not engaged in the process, have not offered solutions, and simply want to kill this bill. I ask you to consider this when you hear their testimony. Are they opposed to this simple cleanup bill because it really is so unreasonable? Or are they opposed because their companies are currently engaging in illegal retaliation against their employees, and they are concerned that we are going to close their convenient loophole? With that, Chair, we stand ready for questions.
Thank you, Assemblymember, and thank you for your presentation today. Committee members, are there any questions? Assemblymember Torres Fawcett.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you so much for the presentation and bringing this piece of legislation. I guess my question is based off of the conversation that we had in my office the other day too. If we could just kind of define for the record what like a reprimand would look like. I can just think of a situation where an employer comments to the employee like, wow, we were really busy yesterday, or is upset even that somebody called out last minute. And I don't think that that should be like included. So I'm just trying to understand, or if there's already an existing definition for reprimand in our statute.
Assemblymember LaRue Hatch, for the record, thank you for that question. In this world, reprimand has a formal meaning. There is usually a formal written reprimand that is issued. And so we are talking about formal reprimands. And the reason for that is if someone is issued a formal reprimand for using their earned leave that they have available, it is going to discourage them from calling out in the future, which means they will not take care of their own health. They will potentially spread illness to others in the workplace, and they will not be following the intent of the statute. Thank you.
Thank you. And that might be, sorry, Chair, just a quick follow-up. That might be helpful clarification in this legislation, because in other parts of the statute, I know we just make it sure that it's clear that it should be written. Thank you.
Assemblymember O'Neill.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate you coming forward and explanation on the part, but I still need some clarification. And part of my confusion may be that sometimes by defining things out, you narrowed it down too closely and create new loopholes. But reading the bill, Section 1, Part 3, an employer shall not deny an employee the right to use paid leave available for use by that employee in accordance with conditions of this section. Then it goes on to say, retaliate against an employee for using paid leave available for use by the employee. And then you go on and to define dismiss, demoting, and I can think of times when a person is a probationary employee, they've gotten promoted to a higher rank. They may be a public service individual that calls in 5 minutes before they're due to take on dispatcher's jobs, and you want to transfer them to a position, keeping them, but transfer to a position that's not such critical need. So I guess I still see some issues here, and I'm still confused by, as the law is currently stated, through that collective bargaining agreement, there are not avenues to regress. As the young lady said, her union representative, she's still working for the organization. To me, she can take them forward to clarify that the law, to me, is very clear as it's currently written. I'm not sold yet on, and that's what I'm asking you, help me understand your additional parts in this bill, please. Thank you.
Assemblymember LaRue Hatch, for the record. I think there were several questions in there, so I'm going to try to boil it down. I think to answer your question of why this is needed, retaliation is currently barred in statute, but as you just heard, retaliation is occurring. And so we wanted to make explicit what retaliation means. And Ms. Whitten is still employed, but as you heard in her own testimony, she has had negative impacts on her emotional and physical health because it has been made clear to her and her coworkers that she is not to call in sick. And I will certainly allow her, Mr. Kinson, to add to that before I try to answer your other parts of your question.
Ross Kinson, for the record. So one of my many, many hats is being a representative for the Teamsters. And what we are seeing on a day in and day out basis is that individuals who call out, whether they have sick days or not, and they're following the clear guidelines that are set forth by the company, calling out an hour beforehand, making sure there's ample notice, all of that, are still being disciplined for using those sick days. Now, ultimately, when we try and resolve these issues, if I was to try and take this to arbitration, an arbitrator will tell me that they cannot rule on this based on the NRS as it's currently written. And then if I try and take it through the state, I'm told I can't do that because I am subject to a collective bargaining agreement. So when we talk about why this fix is necessary, it's because we have thousands and thousands and thousands of workers throughout this state who are literally left in a no man's land and are subject to discipline on a daily basis. And I, as someone who fights for workers, have no way to protect them. Now, ultimately, I'll pat myself on the back a little bit. I believe that I'm fairly good at my job, but that doesn't stop the feeling that the workers have that they cannot call out sick. And I can't tell you how many workers have come into work sick because they believe that they no longer have the right to use their sick days. Thank you.
Assemblymember LaRue Hatch, for the record, and to speak to your point of why can't we just bargain this, many of these employers are national corporations that are bargaining on a national scale. It is not localized bargaining. And so there is not an avenue for our Nevada constituents to be able to address this as quickly as they need. And that is why I believe that we need to provide these protections, which we are already providing to everyone else, to these employees in statute.
Did you want to follow up?
But a real follow-up?
Chair, you don't want me to, we'll be here all day trying to.
So why don't you take this offline?
Yeah, I really appreciate the time and thank you.
Thank you. Assemblymember Miller.
Thank you, Chair. I would just like a little more clarification on the question that was, the first questions that were asked about reprimand. And I appreciate you clarifying that we're things that are written, because we know at work oftentimes there are things that aren't measurable or are subjective, even the word intimidation, right? Like how one person feels intimidated, and it may be hard to measure or prove. So under reprimand, when you're saying, a written, would that also include under that definition things like written warnings or written investigations or intent to investigate? Because I can appreciate how those items also make employees feel intimidated and insecure and concerned about their standing at work as well. So would that be included?
Assemblymember LaRue Hatch, for the record, thank you. And Chair, I totally forgot to ask, may I go direct?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, that is our intention, because I think all of those that you just listed are ways of retaliating against an employee and making them feel intimidated and making them feel unsafe in taking their earned leave.
Thank you.
Committee members, any additional questions? Assemblymember Yurick.
Thank you, Chair. And thanks for coming to my office earlier and helping me try to understand this a little better. And the testimony is, it's impactful to hear and think. It's shocking to me to think that there are truly employers that, regardless of this definition or not, we can all look at and say, if that is really happening, somebody's getting punished for using their paid leave, right? That would be concerning. And I understood the loophole, right? There's no mechanism to go after and say, I feel like I'm being unfairly treated, which presents a potential problem that I want to take a deeper dive and look into, and certainly will probably follow up with you online. My question is, one of the concerns that I have as I read this and the way it's written, it seems like it leaves room for ambiguity on when we talk about using, right? So even some of the examples, I don't know the context of the why that leave was used or how it was requested. So for example, if there are internal procedures that involve requesting the use of paid time off, you have to give so much notice, or maybe if you're in a position, I think it was referenced earlier, where if you are consistently using your leave in a manner that makes it very difficult to, in my old career as a police officer, to meet minimum manner requirements on the street, issues like that, that the ability for companies and managers to be able to allocate their resources in a wise way, but not in a retaliatory way, does this leave room for that? Like, somebody is not using or complying with the policies for requesting and using leave, does it also now limit employers' abilities to manage their PTO in that regard?
Assemblymember LaRue Hatch, for the record, thank you for the question. So we are not changing the notice policies, the leave policies, the use policies that are already in statute for a huge number of employees. We are simply applying them to employees under a collective bargaining agreement and simply explaining in more depth what retaliation means. So all of those policies, if they are currently legal under law, then they should be able to continue. And I would argue if someone is habitually calling out and using their sick leave, they're gonna run out pretty quick, and then they're gonna be going unpaid. And that is a consequence in itself. If you don't have sick leave left, then that is the situation as it stands. Would you like to add?
Ross Kinson, for the record. So again, this is something where I know that we probably heard this a lot in AB 112. I want to continue to reiterate it here, that this sets a floor and makes it so that everybody across the state has that equal floor. We by no means want people to come into work sick. However, we by no means want people to abuse their leave or their leave policies that they have at their work. So this sets the floor and makes it so that everybody starts out equal.
Thank you. Committee members, any additional questions? I don't see any. We will begin with testimony in support of Assembly Bill 179. Please remember, each person has 2 minutes. Remember to state and spell your name for the record. We will start in Carson City. You may begin when you're ready.
For the record, my name is Mark Ellis, Communication Workers of America, Local 9413. And first, let me apologize. I misspoke earlier on the earlier bill. Collectively, or not collectively bargained, we're entitled. I put on my union hat for a second and was like, say I speak for everybody. I apologize.
Can you spell your name for the record, please?
Marcellis. In regards to this bill, I can tell you firsthand, probably 2/3 of what the union does is try to, my local, is going after this stuff. In our contract, it states you get X amount of hours, and I have a couple different contracts that it says the sick time. The company writes a policy alongside of it and says, well, yes, we will pay you because that's what your contract says, but guess what? We're going to punish you for taking it. We are following the law, we're paying you, but, and it's written, you're trending, you get X amount of points, and then you point out and you're terminated. Even though you stay within your contractual allotment of hours every year, this still happens, and it happens on a regular basis. And thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, committee members. Jason Lesher, L-E-S-H-E-R, with the Washoe County Sheriff Deputies Association and the Public Safety Alliance of Nevada. I'm going to try to help connect the retaliatory toward and the punitive action that's being proposed in this bill. When we talk retaliation, which is in the statute, you know, I've dealt with members who feel they have a certain supervisor that's targeting them, that doesn't like them, that's writing them up, riding them, however you want to say it. And in those instances, you know, we're kind of looking more toward a kind of a hostile work environment claim, something like that, perhaps, if that's truly happening. Versus, I think what this bill tries to do in adding the basically punitive action clauses to kind of attach it to, this is, you know, there's retaliatory action including these types of things. And so it kind of simplifies, I think, for the unions and the management how this would actually play out. So thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Dan Gordon, Gordon, and I'm the president of Nevada Police Union. Madam Chair and committee members, I'm proud to represent the men and women of Nevada's law enforcement, and we support AB 179. Thank you.
Kaylin Cardavani, Kaylyn Kardavani, on behalf of New Day Nevada, an organization that fights for economic justice. We support this bill for all of the great reasons that were said before. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and committee members. My name is Andrew Rivas, Andrewrivas. I'm a union member with Teamsters Local 533. I just wanted to share really quick my own experience with retaliation with my employer. July 2023, I had an unexpected medical event, lost sight in my right eye, was told by my ophthalmologist, you are not allowed to drive, you're not allowed to be engaging in physical activity until it clears on its own. I told my employer I had to start using my sick leave on a day-to-day basis because they refused to remove me from the schedule. When I got back to work, I was pulled into the office. I was told my use of sick leave was unapproved. I would be issued a 5-day suspension without pay for calling in through the protocols laid out by my CBA, by company policy. That was eventually walked back to a verbal warning. Following week, work was cut from people around me. It was put on me. I was given essentially 16 hours of work. I have 14 hours to work maximum in a day by federal law. I was told it was unacceptable for me to work more than 9 hours on a daily basis. I got 7 ride-alongs, 12 on-road observations, 2 full-day on-road observations by my supervisors. Just for some reference, in 11 years of employment, I received 6 annual ride-alongs before July of 2023, and 2 on-road observations, which last about 5 minutes. They watch you work for 5 minutes, point out what you could do better, and if you did anything wrong. I had constant scrutiny and was pulled into the manager's office on a daily basis. Most of that, as it was explained to me, was for the benefit of my coworkers. In closing, I would just strongly urge the committee to support this bill. This should be a floor, not because it's going to change anything that happened to me, but
Sir, if
because
you
of
can
what it
please
means,
finalize your testimony. Thank you.
for what it means to workers in the future. Thank you.
Kent Irvin, ERVIN, Nevada Faculty Alliance. Again, about 12% of our faculty are under a limited form of collective bargaining, and there's no reason they should have to either negotiate up or have lower rights in this area than other employees, and so we support AB 179. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Christina Pixton, CHRISTINA, PIXTON. I'm a lead shop steward at a local union shop. Over the past 5 years in this role, I've witnessed many troubling incidents regarding the use of paid sick days. While we're entitled to these days, the lack of protection with the NRS allows the company to discipline employees for exercising their rights. Here are just a few examples. One employee used their sick days to attend her brother's funeral despite our policy on funeral leave. The company categorized her absence as sick leave and subsequently wrote her up for using those days. Another employee had to call out to take his son to the hospital where his son tested positive for the norovirus. 2 days later, he received an urgent message from his wife, who also needed to be rushed to the hospital for the same virus. A few days later, that employee caught the virus himself and had to call out again. Management not only wrote him up, but also labeled him as lazy and accused him of abusing his sick pay. I have seen employees call out due to food poisoning and stomach flu, yet management still expected them to report for duty. These employees are still fearful of being written up. They came in despite the fact that they were ill and clearly unwell and unable to fully perform their job duties. In other instances, an employee scheduled time off for a medical procedure with their supervisor. The supervisor forgot to enter their time into the system and was given a choice by corporate. He could either write himself up for the oversight or discipline the employee for missing work. The supervisor chose to write the employee up even though he had followed proper procedure and provided ample notice. I've witnessed and negotiated on behalf of the employees in these cases, attempting to persuade the company to recognize the rights of its employees and workers.
Can you please finalize your testimony?
Yeah, without the protective wing, which all the workers in Nevada, the company continues to impose these disciplines of using paid sick leave. Thank you for your time.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, for the record, my name is Annette Magnus, and I'm here today representing my client, Moms Rising Together. We are here today in support of AB 179, the Sick Leave Protection Act. We believe it is critical that all workers in Nevada and across the U.S. be protected from harassment and retaliation for using their earned sick leave. Nevadans should never have to worry about taking their sick time to care for loved ones. We thank the sponsor for her work on this important bill and urge your support. Thank you for your time.
My name's Heather Arnold, union representative for Local 533 Teamsters. I support this event. I've personally witnessed and been part of discipline, and over the last 9 years as being a shop steward, hundreds of members have been disciplined for using their sick leave.
Good afternoon again, Chair Marzola and committee members. For the record, my name is Gary Watson, W-A-T-S-O-N. I'm the Secretary Treasurer of Teamsters Local 533 in Reno, Nevada. I fully support my members here testifying in front of you today and fully support this bill and hope that you support the bill as well. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Rick McCann, MCCANN, representing both law enforcement and non-law enforcement interests. I won't go into them. We support AB 179. I'm not the brightest bulb in the box, but let me understand this. You have a right. You exercise that right. You're punished for exercising that right. I don't care who you are. That's just stupid. This is an opportunity of fixing it. I think we should do so. Thank you.
Hi, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Kalen Evans. That's C-A-L-E-N. I am the president of the Washoe Education Association, and we represent all of the certified professionals in the Washoe County School District. Out of respect for the committee's time, I just want to say ditto to what's been said and that we strongly support this bill. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and the committee. My name's
You have to turn on your microphone, sir.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and the committee. My name's Gabriel Christensen, C-H-R-I-S-T-E-N-S-O-N. I'm the SMART TDE Nevada State Legislative Director. We're in full support of AB 179. We have the rail carriers preemptively intimidating members from using their paid sick days in times where they see more people taking time off. So it's definitely used for intimidation. And issues that we have that this would probably solve is we have an agreement for paid sick days, but we have an attendance policy, and the policy continues to change. And if they deem that you use the sick day not the way they determined it was supposed to be used, you get points. And then if you hit enough points, and it does have to go to arbitration, and we follow the collective bargaining agreement with that, our members could be off for a year or 2 years before they get an award to come back to work. In the meantime, their family could lose their home and things like that. So this bill would hopefully solve that.
Good afternoon again, Chair and the committee. My name is Wendy Colborne, C-O-L-B-O-R-N-E. I am the Chief of Staff for the Northern Nevada Building Trades Council. We represent over 6,000 working men and women in the building trades up here in Northern Nevada, and we are in full support of this bill as well. Thank you.
Good afternoon again, Chair Marzola and members of the committee. Matthew Parker, representing the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainmen, in support of AB 179. The points I brought forth in my previous testimony on AB 112 are equally applicable to this bill. And to that, I'd like to add also, referring back to the experience of my wife being in the hospital critically ill, there was a nurse who noticed me frequently coming in after working all night, spending hours by her bedside before going home to eat and get rest. And she pulled me aside at one point and admonished me about making sure to take care of my own health, stating that failing to do so, the detrimental health effects can be compounded by the stress of having a loved one who's critically ill. Add into that the stress brought on by an employer attempting to limit or discipline you for using your sick time to care for this loved one. Aside from making these necessary changes to the law, having a moral issue there, there's also something to consider here about protecting the health and welfare of the employees, again, from the stress, the added stress of potentially being disciplined for the use of their sick time. So I urge you to support this bill. Thank you.
Greeting, Chair and the committee members. My name is Noe Orozco. That's N-O-E, accent over the E, O-R-O-S-C-O. I am the Government Affairs Manager for Make the Road Nevada, and we are in support of AB 179. In multi-generational households, paid time off is crucial. Much of our gente fear taking time off, while others have been retaliated or even reprimanded. Many moons ago, when I was right out of college, my sister had given birth to her second daughter, and she was born premature, so I had told her that I'd be able to help her out. She would just need to try to schedule those follow-up appointments, either on those Fridays or on those Mondays, so that I'd be able to travel to get to her. And it was very much seen as, this guy's trying to take a little bit of time off the, 3-day weekend. That wasn't the case. I walked that red road. Sobriety is sacred, so that wasn't even a factor. But it did become very challenging, and there were some issues there where it made it very difficult for me to be able to be working there. And so by having drawn out what those protections are, we are in full support of that, and we do urge you to support this bill. Thank you.
I guess I'm last. Good afternoon, committee. For the record, Tess Opferman, that's T-E-S-S-O-P-F-E-R-M-A-N, here on behalf of the Nevada Women's Lobby. The Nevada Women's Lobby worked hard to pass SB 312 in 2019. This bill was the first paid time off bill for all employees. This gives 40 hours of paid time off for all full-time, 40 hours a year for those who are full-time employees. This was the bare minimum. We worked closely with opponents at that time. We came to this agreement. We pushed. We got the bill through. It was a success. And it's disheartening to hear that some employees are being denied that very small amount of time. 40 hours is not a lot. And so with that, we feel like we fought that battle at that time. We dealt with the opponents. At this time, we ask you to close the loophole, ensure that all employees are getting the bare minimum of paid time off. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else here in Carson City wishing to testify in support? I don't see. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in support to Assembly Bill 179? Please remember to state and spell your name for the record. You have 2 minutes.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Assembly members. My name is Sarah Evans, S-A-R-A-E-V-A-N-S. I'm with SEIU Local 1107. Paid leave time allows individuals to prioritize their well-being, fostering healthier workplace as well as stronger families. Everyone should be allowed to use their leave they earn. We support this bill to promote better working environments and build more resilient communities. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. For the record, Maggie Carlton, M-A-G-G-I-E, C-A-R-L-T-O-N. Today, representing Culinary Workers Local 226. We are in support of the bill and thank the sponsor for working to protect working families.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Brittany Kemp, spelled B-R-I-T-T-A-N-Y-K-E-M-P. I'm here today on behalf of myself and Make It Work Nevada in support of AB 179 for paid sick days and expanded protections for employee jobs. In November of 2019, the dynamics of my family changed when my partner had a near-death accident on his job, falling 25 feet from a boom lift at the new Las Vegas Convention Center. That accident caused him to sustain a lifelong injury that impacted his ability to work any longer as a union glazer and left him with traumatic brain injury. Going from a two-person income household to taking on full financial responsibility of a family and assuming a new role as a caretaker was pressure and stressful. My partner was restricted from driving and working for over a year, requiring that I take time off from work to be able to assist him at various doctor's appointments. 4 months after his accident, as the world was dealing with the effects of COVID-19, I was put on furlough at my job, and although I was one of a handful of employees that were able to return to work, my circumstances had changed. When I asked to use paid time off, I was told that I would need to return to work first. Upon returning and requesting to use paid time off again, I was denied based upon the reasoning that not enough time had accrued during my furlough, and this provided some challenges and ultimately led me to make one of the hardest decisions I had to make, choosing to care for my partner over battling my job for time off. I'm asking today that the committee please support AB 179 and help to protect employees from leaving, losing their jobs, or facing disciplinary actions against them as punishment for making the decision to put their families first. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Jolina Walker, Jollina Walker, and I'm the State Policy Director for Make It Work Nevada. We are a reproductive justice organization, and I am testifying in support of AB 179. Make It Work Nevada was part of the efforts to champion paid sick days in 2019's 80th legislative session. With the passage of SB 312, paid sick days provide workers and employers with economic and workforce stability. AB 179 is a bill that will put protections in place for hardworking Nevadans, ensuring that employers cannot deny people who choose to use their accrued paid time off. AB 179 will also prohibit retaliation and will allow employees to take leave without fear of punishment. This small and powerful adjustment has big impact for Nevada workers. We appreciate the Assembly Member LaRue Hatch bringing this bill forward and urge the committee to support AB 179. It is an excellent example of how we can support Nevadans who are working hard to support their families and take the time they need to care for themselves and for their loved ones. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Carla Campos, for the record. I am a vice president for CWA Local 9413 out of Nevada. We cover over 700 members in the entire state. Many of the contracts that we deal with, a lot of the members, although they have a attendance policy and they do get paid for their sick time, unfortunately have some form of discipline that's attached to it, such as points or hours accrued, and get written up for taking the time. And they fear for taking the time off due to having getting written up for those kinds of things. It is not fair for our working families to have to limit the time they need to take and end up getting others sick or end up getting worse because they're not resting. And we firmly believe that this bill is going to help gap and close those loopholes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Brenda Zamora, that's Brenda Zamora, and I'm here in my personal capacity, but most importantly, a caregiver to my 3 daughters and parents. I have a special needs daughter who is 11 years old and has had 11 surgeries so far, keyword, so far. I also care for my mother who has been diagnosed with stage 4 kidney failure. My house is full and busy, and if you know me, you know I wear a couple of busy hats in the community as well. I'm very fortunate to be working somewhere that does provide paid time off so I can care for my loved ones and myself. I'm here advocating for those who do not. I was in their shoes. I was raising my oldest daughter by myself with all her special needs situations. And there was times where my employer pried into my personal life when I would request time off. Thankfully, this is not an issue anymore for me, but my community is still in similar situations. Working Nevadans should be able to take their time off when needed. As mentioned, they have earned it. We need to protect our workers, and I strongly urge you all to support AB 179. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon. This is Juan Campos. That's Juan Campos, and I am here with CWA. We are local 9413, and I support the bill for 179. I was recently terminated from my job due to using my sick time. And we do have a point system there, and I was reprimanded for taking time off. But yeah.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Angelina Tingy, Angelina Tuenge. I'm a lifelong resident of Henderson in Las Vegas. I'm here in support of AB 179 and ditto to the other remarks in support. I ask the committee to support AB 179. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Pamela Demendez, PAMELA-DE-MENDZ, and I am here in support of Bill AB 179.
Hello, my name is Fatima Cruz, Fatima Cruz, Cruz, and I'm here in support of the bill. Thank you for your time.
Is there anyone else in Las Vegas that wishes to testify in support? Broadcast, is there anyone on the line?
To testify in support for Assembly Bill 179, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Again, if you wish to testify in support, please press star 9 now.
Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Joseph Graham, JOSEPHGRAHAM. I'm the Chief Steward of CWA 9413. I represented a member who called in sick to protect his immunocompromised manager. He was suspended for his consideration. I strongly urge the committee to support Assembly Bill 179. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Alexander Marks, MARKS, with the Nevada State Education Association. We are in support of Assembly Bill 179, the Sick Leave Protection Act. Thank you.
Hello, Chair and members. Again, Tom Hinsey, for the record, that's TOMHINTZE, on behalf of UAW, in strong support of AB 179. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon again, Chair Marzullo, members of the committee. My name is Matthew Wilkie, M-A-T-T-H-E-W-W-I-L-K-I-E, for the record. I want to thank the Assembly member for bringing this bill forward, and I'll say ditto to all the comments and support. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. This is Addie Crisp Johnson, ADDIE-CRISP-JOHNSON. I'm a member of Transport Workers Union Local 556, and I strongly urge the committee to support Assembly Bill 179.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzullo and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Russ James, R-U-S-S-J-A-M-E-S, with the Nevada AFL-CIO. I strongly support Assembly Bill 179, urge the committee to do the same. Thank you.
Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Adam Mack, M-A-C-K. I'm the Legislative Director for IATSC Local 363. We strongly support AB 179. Every Nevadan deserves the right to take sick time without retaliation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzullo and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Carlos Gutierrez, G-U-T-I-E-R-R-E-Z, and I'm a member of Local 350, Plumbers and Pipe Fitters, Reno, Nevada. I strongly urge the committee to support Assembly Bill 179. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzullo and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Susie Martinez, and I am the Executive Secretary Treasurer of the Nevada State AFL-CIO. And I echo the sentiments of my brother, Rick McCann. Yes, the time has come. Let's fix this. We are in full support of Assembly Bill 179. Thank you.
Caller with the number ending in 540, you may begin.
Hello, good afternoon, Chair Marzullo and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Jose Rodriguez, that's J-O-S-E-R-O-D-R-I-G-U-E-Z, and I am the union organizer for the local operative and plasters and cement masons, and I am calling to support the Assembly Bill 179. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Charles Zemp. That's C-H-A-R-L-E-S-Z-E-M-P. I'm a member of Bricklayers International Local 13, Nevada, and I urge the committee to support AB 179. Thank you.
My name is Susan Kaiser, Kaiser. In 1998, it became necessary to uproot my family from Maryland, where my kids enjoyed fully funded schools, public parks, and extended services. You might wonder why I would leave this lovely community, but the call to care for a loved one is strong. It was because our help was needed back in our native Nevada, where my mother still lived. At 83 years old, Mom had suffered a stroke and was beginning to show signs of dementia. Her older sister had been acting as a caregiver, but it was clear that Mom's care was going to be more than my aunt was able to provide. A longer-term solution was clearly needed for Mom's care. And so began my 10-year commitment to keeping my mother safe, healthy, and happy. It took support from my husband, my 3 teenage children, because Mom could not be left unsupervised. I accessed every program I could find to help my mom and give me the support to endure the challenges of elder care while also working full-time as a middle school science teacher. Many times I could juggle appointments around my contracted teaching time, but not always. Disease and illness don't make appointments with us. Multiple times, Mom had to be hospitalized, requiring me to stay with her to minimize her confusion, or she was just sick and needed somebody to be home with her. I got lucky. I was able to provide care with my family's help and keep my job. Most of all, I could be with Mom when she needed me the most. Restrictions on use of sick leave and family medical leave tie the hands of caregivers, adding to the burden they already carry. Allowing employees to access their earned leave to care for family members is both critical and necessary for us all. I support passage of AB 179. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Tara Webster, Tarawebster. I'm the policy manager with the Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada, and on behalf of Plan, we ditto all of the previous remarks. We believe all Nevadan workers deserve protection to use their earned leave without repercussions. Please support AB 179. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Evelyn Pacheco, EVELYNPACHECO. I'm an Army veteran, and I'm also a union member of UA Local 525, Plumbers, Pipe Fitters, and HVAC. I strongly urge the committee to support Assembly Bill 179. And thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzarella and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Sue Bird, SUEBIRD. I'm a senior, and I have 2 children that are both in unions. And as we age, it is very scary to think that if you are very ill, you wouldn't be able to say goodbye to your children. So this is very scary for me. They should be able to take time off to care for their children and myself. They're now part of the sandwich generation. They have us older people to take care of their children. If they have accrued time or if they have a family illness, every worker should be able to be with their loved ones when they're ill. Please support this bill. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Phil James, Jaynes, and I am the president of ILC Local 720 in Las Vegas. I strongly urge that the committee for the committee to support AB 179. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Chair Marzola and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Robert Sumlin, S-U-M-L-I-N. I'm a member of the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, Local Lodge, Sin City 711 in Las Vegas, Nevada. I strongly urge the committee to support Assembly Bill 179. Thank you and have a great day.
Good afternoon, Chair Manzola and committee. My name is Beverly Williams, W-I-L-L-I-A-M-S. I am the Secretary Treasurer of the Southern Nevada Central Labor Council and a member of Teamsters Local 986. I strongly urge the committee to support AB 179. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Liz Sorensen. That's L-I-Z-S-O-R-E-N-S-O-N. I am the president of the Nevada State AFL-CIO. I stand in support of AB 179. Ditto to all the folks that have testified in support. I just want to add that you have heard through testimony that retaliation that is happening to these workers. It is time to stop that. So I urge this entire committee to please vote yes in support of AB 179. Thank you so much for your time.
Chair, there are no more callers testifying in support at this time.
Thank you. We will now hear testimony in opposition to Assembly Bill 179. Is there anyone here in Carson City wishing to testify? Please remember to state and spell your name for the record. You have 2 minutes.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Paul Moradkin, M-O-R-A-D-K-H-A-N, with the Vegas Chamber. The Chamber is opposed to AB 179, but we do appreciate the bill sponsors willing to meet with us and discuss the bill as she's mentioned, and we will continue to do so following this hearing. The Chamber was heavily involved with the negotiations in 2019, along with several other colleagues in the business community and other stakeholders. And we felt at the time that this bill was drafted in a way that would address those needs of Nevada's families and employees. However, at this time, the Chamber is opposed to additional retaliatory language, as has been mentioned in the bill. It is already prohibited by law, and we're also opposed to any additional striking of the collective bargaining provisions at this time. From the Chamber's perspective, paid time off is a better system because it allows more flexibility for the employees and also for the administrative side for employers. This bill specifically deals with paid time off, as you know, or paid leave. It does not address sick leave. This NRS provision is only related to paid time off. And just to clarify those conversations about sick leave and retaliation, this is a paid time off section of NRS. Again, we'll continue our conversations with the bill sponsor, and again, appreciate our open door and go to those conversations, and thank you for your time, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Chair Marzola, committee members. Misty Grimmer, for the record, representing the Nevada Resort Association, G-R-I-M-M-E-R, for the spelling of my last name. I also appreciate the sponsor of the bill making time to meet with me on this issue last night, and we did have a good discussion and look forward to having further discussions on it. As was already mentioned, in 2019, when this was added to the statute, there were multiple very long stakeholder meetings. It sounds like we might need to have a few more of those. And as Paul mentioned, the bill in 2019 clarified the difference between PTO time and sick leave. The stories that were brought before the committee today are very horrendous and sad stories. But it is possible those were under sick leave and would not have been covered by this bill anyway. I have no idea how it, but this bill specifically relates to PTO, and one of the things that's in the law is that a employee doesn't have to give any reason for requesting their PTO. And so that is one of the major differences. It was never the intention in the exemption portion for an employer to be able to prevent an employee from using their PTO. The exception was actually designed for exactly what Assemblyman Urick described, that there are some situations where employers need to have flexibility as to when they can and can't grant a person sick leave. PTO. See, even I get it confused. We do have some concerns with Section 1, Sub 3. It greatly expands the actions that can be considered as having happened as a form of retaliation. The added language is quite broad so that almost any perceived negative action by an employer could be considered retaliation. We believe the current language having the investigation and determination of whether an act was done in
Mrs.
retaliation.
Garber, can you finalize your statement, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for allowing me to testify, and thank you to the bill sponsor for being open to working on this bill, and we look forward to working on it some more.
Good afternoon, Chairperson Marzola and members of the committee. My name is Samantha Dugan, Samantha Dugan. I am the Executive Director of the Northern Nevada Reno Division of the National Electrical Contractors Association. We currently oppose the bill as written. We appreciate the intent and look forward to working with the sponsor and stakeholders to clarify the language. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Good to see you and members of the committee. For the record, Trey Abney, Trayabney, here today as State Director for the small business members of NFIB and also representing NAOP, the Commercial Real Estate Association. I had a very long thesis prepared for you, but I will just say me too and associate myself with the comments made already. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Good afternoon, Chair. Brian Reeder, representing the Nevada Contractors Association. NCA represents the commercial construction industry in Southern Nevada and our members employ thousands of workers under collective bargaining agreements. Our opposition is not about the retaliatory language. It's more about the removal of the exemption. So not to speak for other trades, but in the construction trades, employers that are subject to a CBA pay per hour to the PTO fund. And the exemption language, as far as we understand, is there because we're already paying. No matter what's in the law, we're paying per the CBA. Under this bill, it seems like we would pay per the collective bargaining agreement per hour, but then also pay the hours required under 608. And we spoke with the bill sponsor, and we want to thank her for meeting with us briefly before this hearing. We don't think that's the intent. And we did read the amendment, and we don't think that actually clears up our concern, and our concern is really just that we would be paying twice. We'd be paying per the CBA, and then we're still required to pay under law if that exemption is removed the way it is in this bill, even with the amendment. So we think we can clear that up. We're hopeful we can, but that's our concern. Thanks.
Good afternoon again, Brian Walker, BRYANWACHTER. Senior Vice President of the Retail Association of Nevada. In the interest of time, we would like to echo the comments of Mr. Moradkin, Ms. Gerber, and Mr. Abney.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. Peter Saba, SAB as in Bravo A, Senior Government Affairs Manager for the Nevada Restaurant Association. Restaurants depend on full staffing to operate efficiently. Restaurant owners care about their teams and already work to provide flexible, fair pay time off policies that support their employees while keeping operations running smoothly. AB 179 removes employer flexibility, forcing all covered businesses into a state-mandated PTO structure, even if they already offer better suited policies for their workforce. This change eliminates the ability to adapt to the unique challenges of restaurants where staffing needs to fluctuate daily. We support worker protections, but urge a balanced approach. We appreciate the bill's intent and look forward to a solution that works for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Terry Graves, representing the Nevada Trucking Association and the Nevada Manufacturing Association. We endorse the comments of the previous testifiers and are concerned that it does hamper business efficiency. It's going to add time and cost to comply with these new languages that's being introduced into the rec. Therefore, we stand opposed and will work with the sponsor of the bill. Thank you.
Chair Marzola, members of the committee, my name is Tomas Hammond with Carrera, Nevada. I am here on behalf of the Mechanical Contractors Association of Las Vegas and the Sheet Metal and Air Conditioning Contractors National Association of Southern Nevada. We are here in opposition to AB 179 and echo the comments made by the Vegas Chamber. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Again, for the record, Andrew McKay, M-A-C-K-A-Y, Executive Director of the Franchise Auto Dealers Association. I know you guys want to get out of here, so I'm going to be brief. We'll echo the comments. We are part of the working groups when this was initially put together, as referenced in 2019 by Mr. Murakin and Ms. Grimmer. And as a result, obviously, we echo those comments. And then it goes without saying that, obviously, we're more than willing to sit down and work with the bill sponsor on this matter. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Good afternoon. My name is Patrick Kelly. I'm the CEO of the Nevada Hospital Association. We too have concerns regarding the retaliatory language in the bill. Instances exist in which discipline is necessary. Let me share an example. A nurse regularly calls off at the last minute on sunny days. The pattern is clear. The hospital's policy for calling off is clear too. The nurse has not complied with the policy. The other nurses are upset because they must cover for the absent nurse until a replacement can be found. Hospitals need to be able to apply progressive discipline to curb this behavior and to discourage others from engaging in similar conduct. This is a patient safety issue. We look forward to working with the sponsor, but certain exceptions need to be made with respect to the retaliatory language. Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to testify in opposition in Carson City? I don't see any. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 179? Please remember to state and spell your name for the record. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Chair Marzola and members of the committee. My name is Emily Osterberg, O-S-T-E-R-B-E-R-G, and I am here representing the Henderson Chamber of Commerce and our over 2,000 members, most of which are small businesses, to express our opposition of AB 179. The expanded restrictions placed on employers regarding disciplinary action related to the use of paid leave could lead to unintended consequences, including abuse of the system and reduced accountability among employees. While protection against retaliation is important, overly broad prohibitions on employer discretion could hinder necessary managerial actions to ensure a productive workplace. Finally, the bill removes exemptions for businesses that already provide equal or better leave benefits under existing contracts. This one-size-fits-all approach disregards the agreements already in place between employees and employers and employees, potentially overriding negotiated benefits and leading to confusion and inefficiencies. Thank you very much for your time.
Good afternoon. My name is Wendy Newman, W-E-N-D-I-N-E-W-M-A-N. I am the Political Director of the Southern Nevada chapter of the National Electrical Contractors Association, NECA. Our opposition is directly related to striking Section 8A. So at this time, we do oppose AB 179 in its current form and the proposed amendment. But I do strongly believe in working together to ensure policies that are fair and effective. We will continue our conversations with Assemblymember LaRue Hatch, union representatives, and industry stakeholders to find a better solution. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in Las Vegas wishing to testify in opposition? Broadcast, is there anyone on the line?
Testify in opposition to Assembly Bill 179, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify in opposition at this time.
Thank you. We'll move on to testimony in neutral. Is there anyone here in Las Vegas wishing to testify in neutral? I don't see any. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in neutral to Assembly Bill 179? Broadcast, is there anyone on the line?
To testify in neutral to Assembly Bill 179, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify in neutral at this time.
Thank you. Assemblymember, would you like to give any final remarks?
Assemblymember LaRue Hatch, for the record. I will keep this brief because I appreciate the time you have dedicated to this consideration. I just want to clear up a couple of things. For folks that are concerned that this will somehow ruin a collective bargaining agreement, I would point out those two provisions that I pointed to during the hearing that protect it. I would also point out the nearly 50 individuals, most of them from unions, that testified in support of this bill. Their lawyers looked over this language and said it would not ruin their current CBAs. So I would trust their opinions on that issue. I would also point out that there were several organizations that just came up in opposition to the amendment that were in support of the amendment for AB 112. That amendment is the exact same language. So I would ask why they are comfortable with one and not with the other. And finally, I would just ask you to listen to the testimony yourself. You just heard from dozens of individuals that have experienced retaliation for using their sick leave. And you even just heard from some folks that say they want to continue to retaliate against employees who are using their sick leave. And I urge you to please care for our workers and close this loophole and take care of our constituents. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us today. I will now close the hearing on Assembly Bill 179. I will now open up for public comment. Please address your remarks to issues that fall within the jurisdiction of this committee. If you direct your remarks to issues over which this committee has no oversight, I will redirect you. Public comment is limited to 2 minutes. Public comment may be submitted in writing to the committee up to 24 hours after the hearing. Please remember to state and spell your name for the record. Is there any public comment here in Carson City? I don't see any. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to give public comment? Broadcast, is there anyone on the line?
If you would like to provide public comment, please press star 9 to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to provide public comment at this time.
Thank you. This will conclude our meeting for today. Our next meeting will be Monday, February 24th at 1:30. This meeting's adjourned.